just, I'm putting you to the test. Can you handle me? Do you have a key? Something that I've been playing games. Do you really have what it takes? I guess so, I guess so. I guess so, I guess so. I never dreamed I need my king. Now you better not listen. I think so, I think so. I think so, I think so. Okay, let me just be honest with you. I want you, I want you, I want you. And okay, I've been running circles all the time, but I want you, I want you, I want you. Yeah.
Yo, Rondo, what's cracking? What's cracking? What's cracking? Just playing some. On every video I watch, I found the music that the Hawaiian Weekend, this, that, and other, and it's in the Audio Library Plus, which is for content creation on YouTube. Now, there's two places, but they're all, you have the no copyright audio, and then you have for content creation. Some have songs and stuff like that, but they're not copyrighted. And like the model building and people working and primitive living, all those different things. Because I was chatting with a couple of guys, got in contact, hit my Gmail and says, hey man, you have an issue I saw. I was like, what channel is this? And I saw it, I was like, oh snap. And they reached out and says, use this. So I went over here. Now I've looked at it before and I was like, that's kind of weak. And yeah, I still have what you call about $25 worth of music I can use that's legitimate. But I'll let you see what it looks like. For anybody that comes, if you want to make some content, you want to add music, you like me, you like music, that's what it looks like. That's the audio library that has, you know, that has the content, background music, and all that kind of stuff that you've heard this. I know y'all heard this like on a lot of videos, right? Now, I've always wanted to play this music because I like it. Wait, my thing here is changing. It's not shape actually. There we go, my tripod. There we go. And I was just sitting here jamming before I went live. Almost went late. I was like, dude, I've been wanting to use this music for a while because, like, I like to walk around, just like let music play throughout the whole, you know. And yo, this is like, it's relaxing, calming, even though it's not 432 gigahertz, blah 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 blah, and all that other stuff. And, you know, it's still soothing. And remember, I only got like 3.5 hours of sleep last night, so I'm pretty cranky. And there are times when I get frustrated, I get flustered. There are times when I'm like looking at people, I'm asking myself, not to be a remedy for the source of whatever contempt. Yeah, I am not law, man. All those words, but yeah, I get frustrated because like I want to like just, I would like to, you know, have a whole day, well, 4 or 5 hours where like when I was in the Manatee Hall, this and another, where I'm just reading, blacked out screen, just reading, you know, sharing the references and sources and just reading. That's really what I want to do. I mean, it's easy to do it, but I want it to be a shared experience. And to me, I think that's very important because one of the guys made a comment on one of the little shorts I put up. It says raise the children. Well, in order to raise the children, you got to make sure first the adults not just know who they are, Okay, it doesn't matter. Like one person's asking, like, don't ask me about being a quadrone, being mulatto, and all that other crap. Those are made up terms. I am done. I've expressed this in videos. Go back and watch the videos because I'm not going to entertain that. I'm a very serious man, a sentient being. There's no time for games. If you don't know your truth, you can't figure out your worth. If I make a statement and I was pre-med 6.5, 7 years, and I tell you DNA is not going to tell you your history, and because a few people come along and say, well, they had my family down, I don't care. I am telling you what I know. And if you can't research that information by the information that's out there that lets you know, there is no way to determine where you come from by your DNA or anything else unless it's recent and that family's history is already orientated to those lands and beyond that. So don't ask me questions that I'm going to respond to, and you might feel, because I don't care about feelings, that it's a negate to your question when I'm going to give you a response based on my knowledge. Okay? It's going to clear up some air real quick because we got some new subscribers and they're still caught up in their fictional world. You've got to free yourself. You've got to free yourself. I can have you walk with me and I can say, well, this is what I've done. And some people sit there and I've heard people say, well, just because you knew your great uncles. I said, and you didn't. You didn't know your great grandparents. So what are you saying? What are you alluding to? What point are you making? Where are you going? That shows the chemical debilitated state. When I say chemical, do people know what that means? It means that things are not firing off right. And it's not just in the brain, in the electrical, it's the memory banks. It's in how your functionality and how you process. That's chemical as well, as far as science, chemical. You know, when you get into neurons and all that other stuff and, 6 protons and all that other crap, okay? It's because you're walking your eyes and you breathe, think you're breathing and you hear, but you're not listening. Don't mean you're functioning at the highest peak or level you're supposed to. If you can't remember your family's, because I'm telling you, within every individual, your memories and your family is there. And if you can't hone in on that, that means you're not a listener. That means you're not being practical and you're not putting it into practice. So say it while we're live so I can respond to it here and now, because I'm going to stop answering questions. Unless it's people who have come in, little trolls, I don't care about them. We need them. Hit the thumbs down. I like it. It helps. Get it out there. But yeah, be smarter and be wiser. It seems like the older we're at a time, an apex between 40, 50, and 60 years, where instead of becoming wiser, we have become dumber. And people have a hard time dealing with the rationale, the rationale of truth in that category. The rationale of truth. Some would say the truth of rationale. That don't make sense. The rationality of responding and being respectful to the truth that you're not at the level your ancestors were. So I'm attempting to have people walk with me so they don't have to be complacent, and you can figure out, you have to figure out how to void off things and to bring in and not repress things. And the problem with the majority of people, like that little young knucklehead that punched that woman, talking about YouTube, missing teeth, sucker punched her standing behind her, talking about on video. The stupidity of our people is beyond comprehension. Right now they're talking about, let's bring this is the Peckerwoods. Let's bring the Spanish up on because they were hard workers. They couldn't build this country if we took them back to the time we built it. No, our people have been, the chemicals, the poisoning, everything affected our people in the worst way. And then for any pale skin, I don't need no reparations. But any pale skin to sit there not knowing how, and the majority of you just came here first and second generation. And trust me, I know. But those of you claiming history going back to the 1600s, you're full of caca, excrement. 1700s, you're even bigger popsicle sticks of poo. Runny ones, not frozen. Okay? There is no way they could have built what we have had attained. And what we've done, even up into the Reconstruction era, to which we were building everything. Until you get to the 60s and 70s, then it was just taking care of this, that, and other, while the small hats were destroying our way of life. I wanted to read something before I get into the reading. People have been asking me about this. And I said, all right, I'll speak on it slightly. So when we start talking about, and I've been there, in Nevada, the Love Lake cave where the Paiutes burnt them. Now it's scorched all up in there. They've even built a platform. Is it real? I don't know. They may have made the new history, the pale skins. But let me tell you about the Paiute. The Paiute, just like the Pima people you see today, are not the same people. See, people have a hard time dealing with the influx of people conquering our people and raping the women, or sleeping, or living around them, and because our people are friendly. I'm gonna show you some pictures, all right? But first, let me tell you the story. Was North America once inhabited by a race of giants? According to an old legend supported by several challenging archaeological finds, it is possible many Native American tribes tell stories about the long-forgotten existence of a race of humans. And when they say Native American, they're basing it off the Native Party, a movement that has nothing to do with the original people here. So we're going to say Othakanans people. We're many shades, and we had different hairs and everything. I'm going to show you some pictures. Anyway, a race of humans that were much taller and stronger than ordinary men, usually 7-8 feet and taller. Oh, very taller. Anyway, it's in my ancestral story too, because the Chickasaw who broke away from the Choctaw were giant killers. Okay? These giants are described as both brave and barbaric, and legends often mention their cruelty towards whomever they please, even themselves. They would not only cannibalize those who didn't bring them things when the fall of Tartaria happened, and the giants with us were dying off, but they cannibalized even their own when they would fight. So anyway, the Paiute, a tribe that settled in the Nevada region thousands of years ago, have an outstanding legend about a race of red-haired giants called Sitcha. But listen, my hair is red. And in the sun, in summer, if I was to go to Hawaii, it gets really red, like crimson brown. Like for real, y'all. When all this right here you see, it used to be so crimson brown. Okay? In the northern Paiute language, Sitcha literally means tool eaters. And legend has it that the giants came from a distant island by crossing the ocean on rafts built using the fibrous tool plant. Okay? In Chronicles de Peru, 16th century Spanish conquistador Pedro Cid de Leon recorded an ancient Peruvian tale about the origin of the South American giants. Okay, according to legend, they came by sea in rafts of reeds after the manner of large boats. Some of the men were so tall that from the knee down, they were as big as the length of an ordinary fair-sized man. That means reading is alluding to around 20 to 25 feet, people. Legend tells that the Sitcha waged war on the Paiute and all other neighboring tribes, spreading terror and devastation. Finally, after years of conflict, the tribes united against the common enemy and began to decimate them. The last remaining red-haired giants were chased off and sought shelter inside caves, and the tribes started a fire at the caves' entrances, suffocating and burning alive the Sitcha. Those driven out by the smoke were also killed. In 1886, a mining engineer named John T. Reed, figure that out. Christopher Reed, anyway, that's Reeves, but Reed and Reeves, do the math, happened to hear the legend from a group of Paiutes while prospecting near Lovelock, Nevada. The Indians told him that the legend was real and the cave was located nearby. When he saw the cave for himself, Reed knew he was onto something. And Reed was unable to begin digging himself, but news spread, and soon Lovelock Cave was attracting attention. Unfortunately, though, the attention was profit-driven as guano deposits were discovered inside. You don't know what you can do with back droppings, right? Guano. A company started by miners, David Polk and James Hart, began excavating the precious resource in 1911 and had soon shipped more than 250 tons to a fertilizer company in San Francisco. Now, I'm not going to read all of it. The reason why I'm stating this is because you have the Mormons who settled in Utah, right? Mr. James, whatever, created some fanciful damn religion off of Jesus shit, right? To carry on the felonious narrative. And a lot of them, like the Pilgrims, were Dutch, Ashkenazis. Now, most Pelicans have a hard time, whether Italian, this, that, another. You tell them, no, you just don't know your ancestors' history. They make war with their own brothers and sisters and mothers and fathers. It's they're warlike. That means with every one of their own and everyone outside of them. And see, they have a hard time dealing with that when we express this to them. So anybody over here talking about they're Scott and Irish and this and that and that and this, no, you're of that bloodline from Yaphet by way of Gomer and his siblings. I don't care how you feel, what you think. And the Ashkenazis, the deviant of the devious, made war against y'all to consummate y'all, to bring you here, the old world, to subdue and subjugate and conquer us. I don't care how you feel about it. Now, in doing that, it was a lot of interbreeding and changing for those who get into that, right? That narrative. But it happened. Otherwise, you wouldn't have had the Dutch with the French and the goddamn, Spanish. Because even the Spanish, they weren't the original people of that land. The Ashkenazi that went there, as we're going to read again, which we already covered the last day or two that I read it. Talking about in Spain. And the original inhabitants, now the Ashkenaz, the Kadar. Come on. Like, make it make sense, right? Huh? Are y'all having a hard time with this? Not everybody on this land is of Spanish descent, regardless of speaking a language, like us speaking English. Regardless of how many of us can speak other languages, it doesn't matter. Because everybody around the world now English is the second fucking friggin' language. And see, nobody knows how to make that make sense. It wasn't even the first language of Britain. Now, let me show you some pictures. But I it's really troublesome for me because I know a little more than the rest of you. This woman looks like my grandmother, Retina Lee. She's bio. It's not no Mongolian or Mongolian. It's not camera lighting or anything. The lights are pretty good right there. Okay? My cousin, my uncle Reggie Lee and Junebug. There's a mixing there of the French and the Spanish. You can't tell? Huh? And why is the one in the middle still holding on to his truth? Big shaggy hair. This looks like my grandpa, Nighttime, George Knight, Montclair, before he died of cancer. Y'all just don't get it. See this man right here? If he's 6'2", this is my great uncle, Tandy. Very dark, and he was Dutch and Anahuia. Ashkenaz and Anahuia. They came and married our people, doing their best to change who we were, as they did everywhere. Here go some more Pima. And the funny thing about it is they're round eye. They're round eye. They don't have the Down syndrome eye. They're round eye. All of them. Round eye. Look like a couple of guys I played soccer with and relatives out of North Carolina and Georgia and Louisiana. Hello? Paiute. No, wait. These are Pima. Excuse me. Pima. These are Pima. You see with the Spanish who are Mongol, half-breed, mongrels, all right? And us. Okay? Pima. These are Pima. Pima Indians. Okay? Pima. So when the Mongols came here with the Spanish to conquer our lands, the Dutch, by way of the same people, we're reading that in Arthur Kessler. You remember? You're having a hard time remembering that? Brought Islam with them. Pima. That's Pima. My apologies. That's Paiute. Yeah. See, I have no problem with knowing truth and pulling up some things from Getty Images. Well, these I've already had them in my pictures. I just wanted to go through them and bring them up to the top because I got hundreds of them. I just wanted to share a little story. So when you hear it from other people telling it, you're going to hear them telling a whole lot of BS, nonsense. Snoo, I still got to say it in front. Appreciate the donation, hun. We're still a little bit ways, but you know I love you. Okay. 3.5, 4 hours of sleep. Y'all don't know. Like when I'm actually starting to get some sleep and I get to the point where I am so bucket tired, I don't even want to stand up. And I'm laying there in the bed. My cat's meowing in my ear because he's like, "What are you doing awake? You've been sleeping." And it's 1:30, 1:45, and I'm laying there. I mean, like I'm drinking nothing, and I can't go back to sleep. I don't know, man. And how many years that's been happening? Oh, well, it's a lot of energy, but there are things happening. And so the first thing I do, and I didn't post it, I checked my Echo Smart and I checked my EMF, and there it was. On this floor right here, where it's usually 53, it was a 70 something. So I said, wow. And then when I used to electrical fire plant that they raised 3 years ago, that these workers have been capping off and everything, and flying the drones over, and I used to go out there and I used to take live pictures and show these dark lines at dusk coming from the reservation, right? I show these dark lines, and then the planes for some reason would follow these dark lines as they're spraying the X, and then like they were being directed by something. And the story is there are crafts that you can't see that would leave a dark trail, dark matter, and it would stay in a certain place, elevated like a rail. And these people who are working with them would fly their aircraft remotely or physically and follow these trails that would not move. And they're long. And these dark lines, I used to stand out there by the electrical fire plant, and where I worked part-time, and like the X Canyon thing, where I got pictures, people have seen them, with me in the canyons, taking the people through the canyons and stuff like a tour guide. I used to do all that. Take the red clay, make them thing like that, pour water on top, and then dust away, and you have this little, look like a cup from the red clay and the water, how it was settled, and show how the wind or water could make a mountain. And I used to show them all that. Anywho, I used to take pictures of it nonstop. And then one time I went out and took pictures. This is when I stopped, and the camera would not pick up the dark trails that I'm looking at clear as day, as if they were watching and knew that I was taking pictures of the dark trails. It was like 4 or 5 of them. Sure enough, an hour and a half later, me sitting out there with Charisma, the planes are following those very same dark lines, spraying whatever it is they're spraying. Let's go ahead and get into reading. We're gonna come back in a few hours. We're gonna go ahead and read American Covenant, and I gotta run out. And anyway, we're gonna read. I'm gonna show y'all. It's for those who never seen it. It's for the new subscribers. Appreciate you guys coming in. I'm not apologizing for earlier because I meant what I said. Women of Lemuria and the Covenant, which is, I know it's a pretty good read, right, ladies and gentlemen? But let's go ahead and get into George Jones, An Original History of Ancient America. I'm going to go ahead and turn off the music right now, all right, just pause it. And I don't want to read a whole lot. Been on here for about 28 minutes. So this is George Jones, An Original History of Ancient America. It's an Elamont classic, okay? Supposedly that's the individual there, supposedly. All right. Let's go get right into it. Yeah, I'm tired, and you would think that I wouldn't ran because I'm pretty dehydrated, but it's all right. We have here a distinct and admitted analogy between the original characteristic of the Egyptian and the American pyramids, proved upon the very point, the sides, brought forward by him to negate the proposition, and from his own words. And we're talking about, remember Stephens or whatever his name is? Anyway, again, at the base of the pyramid of Khafrenes, Egypt, the triangular stones that form the smooth sides are still perceptible. So also are they to be seen at the base of the pyramid of Palenque. Each stone an oracular witness against his conclusive consideration, and he objects to similitude upon another ground, and again refutes himself. And here's the visual. The pyramids of Egypt are all square at the base. The nearest approach, and you know that they've proven that the pyramids aren't exactly square. They actually go in a little bit. You know what I mean? Like a starfish, but 4 points. So, it's you got the 4 points, but then you've got 4 points in the middle, and it's very subtle. So instead of it being flat, it's kind of like that on each wall. At least the ones at Giza, and supposedly the one that I visited. Well, I visited four. The one I visited, though it had the stairs, you go to the side. You can't go around the back. You go to the side, and you can see if you look at the ground. If you know where to stand at, you can also see that, and that's the reason why you can stand 150 feet away from it and go, ha! And it would echo all over the friggin' place. If anybody knows what I'm talking about. Okay. Anyway, again, the pyramids of Egypt are all square at the base. The nearest approach to this is at Kopan. But even at that place, there is no entire pyramid standing alone and disconnected, nor one with four sides complete, but only two. Okay. Only two, or at most three sides, and intended to form part or other structures. At Kopan, in parentheses it states, as we have shown, and the very measurement of the base is within a few feet, and in parentheses again it states, from errors in sum total by different authors now, mind you, and may justly be regarded as identical in size with the Great Pyramid of Egypt. It is true, it has but three sides, and in parentheses pyramidal, okay, and the fourth being on the river consists of a perpendicular wall identical in height to the seawall of Tyrus in Egypt. They had no river walls that were perpendicular. But why does he select Kopan? Only to prove whether four sides existed. Questionable. Why not again review Palenque? His motive is not concealed with the proverbial ingenuity of this country. And for a Palenque, the four-sided pyramidal structure is found both in his description and in his map of locality, where no less than 5 casas, un casa, su casa, mi casa, su casa, all right, houses, are presented on pyramidal bases having distinctly four sides, and 3 of them square. Nor is this all. The temple of Palenque itself stands on a pyramidal elevation, and having distinctly four sides, very clearly seen it. As he read a congressional document in the ruins of Palenque by the light of fire beetles, y'all, I haven't seen them in a long time. It would almost appear that he formed his conclusions by the same uncertain midnight lamps. For far from such treacherous and deceptive flames as has he illuminated the historical portion of his volumes, but yet the glimmering of the feeble light is sufficient to discover his hidden motive. And he had a hidden motive because we know about the period of time of the 1800s, what was going on. Excuse me. Yeah, I just ate some, not granola, but it's kind of like it, but it's dark chocolate. And for some reason, with the vitamins I'm taking, I get a little gas. I always get gas, it seems like. Burping, y'all, not the other way, which is no issue. I want to find something here. Let me see if I can find it. I'm going to go back a little bit. Egyptian pyramids had steps rising. In the very next page, he writes, Herodotus says that in his time, 484 BC, the Great Pyramid was coated with stones so as to present a smooth surface. Okay, and that a reason why I'm mentioning that, because we're going to get to it, you can see that he eradicated that as far as South America because he wanted to make, the Ashkenazis wanted to make Egypt one place instead of the world. Who was controlling them to do this? What deal did they make or broker upon? Okay. Excuse me. At Kopan, as we have shown, the very measurements of the base is within a few feet, and from errors in some total by different authors, may justly be regarded as identical in size with the Great Pyramid of Egypt. Okay. Damn. I know I am allergic to the damn chocolate. Anyway, Great Pyramids of Egypt. It has it is true with 3 sides, pyramidal, okay? Now, when we get over here, Temple of Palenque itself stands on a pyramidal elevation having distinctly 4 sides, as he read in the congressional documents. We now bring forward a contradiction more astonishing than all the preceding. But that his volumes are before us. Listen, it would scarcely be credited from the pen of any critic. Volume 2, page 439, he writes, besides the pyramids of Egypt are known to have interior chambers, and whatever their other uses, to have been intended and used as sepulchres. These, in parentheses, American, on the contrary, are of solid earth and stone. No interior chambers have ever been discovered, and probably none exist. We know that's a blatant lie. In the first volume, page 143, in writing of the pyramidal structure rising from the center of the temple of Kopet, is the following description, and this is how he puts his foot in his mouth, and which was reserved from the details of that city to prove this contradiction. On each side of the center of the steps is a mound of ruins, apparently a circular tower about halfway up the steps, and in brackets it states of the pyramidal base. And on this side is a pit, for example, descent, somewhere down, 5 feet square and 17 feet deep, cased with stone. And at the bottom is an opening 2 feet 4 inches high, with a wall 1 foot 9 inches thick, which leads to a chamber. Remember that idiot was talking about it was solid? Pure lies. Just like when they went to Giza and they found those pyramids, they knew there were things in there, and the pyramid was bigger than what was on the surface. 10 feet long, 5 feet, and listen to this, 10 feet long, 5 feet 8 inches wide, and 4 feet high. At each end is a niche, 1 foot 9 inches high and 1 foot 8 inches deep, and 2 feet 5 inches long. Colonel Galindo first broke into this sepulchre, vault, or chamber, and found the niche and the ground full of red earthenware, dishes, and pottery. Egyptian again. More than 50 of which, he says, were full of human bones, packed in lime. Also, several sharp-edged and pointed knives of chaya, a small death's head carved with fine green stone, its eyes nearly closed and the lower features distorted, the back symmetrically perforated with holes, and the whole of exquisite workmanship. This last sentence brings us to a specimen of gem engraving, the most ancient of all the antique works of art. Not only is the death chamber identical with that of Egypt, but also the very way of reaching it. First, by ascending the pyramidal base and then descending. So that means going up and down, and so entering the sepulchre. This could not be accidental. The builders of that pyramidal sepulchre must have had a knowledge of Egypt. And do you remember the cocaine that was not grown over there? The mummies over there got cocaine and tobacco, which is indigenous to America. That's why I always hit so-called Native Americans in the head. You people didn't cultivate no tobacco. That's our shit. Always has been our shit. They made Indian statues that they got up out of there during the 70s and 80s, up into the 90s, and there was none of y'all. They were all Negroid features and everything, and the pictures that are well documented in not just oral, but written history. That's why I don't debate them. The foregone, I'm going to read this paragraph, we're going to move into the next book. The foregone self-denials, in parentheses, of states, so valued in man under other aspects, and lose all their virtue when exerted to sustain fallacious premises. It might be thought that enough has been brought forward to refute his conclusion, but we desire to operate upon this subject. That means call his ass out. Oh man, this is tap to retry. Why are they doing that? Okay, that means to call his ass out. Okay. It might be thought enough has been brought forward to refute his conclusions, but we desire to operate upon this subject. As Tobin says, like the skillful surgeon who cuts beyond the wound to make the cure complete. Woo! So you see what I'm saying? You had people writing our history, lying in totality to make sure that somewhere later on down the road, the lie would be there. Now, I asked y'all about an individual, right? Earlier. Did any of y'all research this individual? Slide down. Did any of y'all research the individual I was talking about? Because we always talking about the Bilderberg thing and the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers and the Bushes and the this and that. There's a black pope. And we know that he's thinking about resigning because this is it. He removed the Papa Bull edict, to which the idiots here don't even know nothing about. Otherwise, they would stop. Oh, all of them would. Even the people at the border would stop coming over. They're being misled by some people who are just having a hard time letting go. But there's the gray pope. Did y'all look him up, as I asked you? Pepe Orsini. I know. It's like, don't even bother, right? Okay. Let's see how many more people are going to be talking about that in the next few months. Arthur Kessler, the 13th tribe. I should actually read this last, but we've already into it, so let's go ahead and cover this. So much for size. But what do we know of the social structure and composition of the Khazar immigrant community? The first impression one gains is a striking similarity between certain privileged positions held by Khazar Jews. In Hungary and in Poland in those early days, both the Hungarian and Polish sources refer to Jews employed as mint masters, administrators of the royal revenue. So now you know how they came over here and created this Ponzi scheme called the Federal Reserve and everything else. And they did that with a set time to outsource all the funds mentally, make us believe we're in debt, and then to bankrupt like they did us in the 20s and the 40s. But this time they want to enslave everybody. Nobody's paying attention. Hell, they went and created a homestead. It meant, no, Messiah's supposed to come and do that, right? These are frauds, motherfuckers. And y'all need to pay attention. And if you one of them Moors or whatever, and you getting your feelings, I don't give a fuck. That's in a language you understand in your turbulent life that you choose to remain in. Refer to use as, again, mint masters, administrators of the royal revenue, controllers of the salt monopoly, tax collectors and moneylenders. And prior few passages, we saw that they created the tax scheme. And moneylenders. For example, bankers. This parallel suggests a common origin of those two immigrant communities. And as we can trace the origins of the bulk of Hungarian Jewry to the Magyar-Khazar nexus, Ashkenazi, the conclusion seems self-evident. The conclusion seems self-evident, excuse me. It's not, carry on. The early records reflect the part played by immigrant Jews, Ashkenazis, in the two countries' budding economic life. That it was an important part and not surprising, since foreign trade and the levying of customs duties had been the Khazars' principal source of income in the past. They had the experience which their new hosts were lacking, and it was only logical that they were called in to advise and participate in the management of the finances of court and nobility. The coins minted in the 12th and 13th centuries with Polish inscriptions in Hebrew lettering, well, we can go back and see chapter 11, verse paragraph 1, which we're not going to do all that, are somewhat bizarre relics of these activities, and the exact purpose they served is still something of a mystery. Some bear the name of a king, for example, Lezek and Miesco. Others are inscribed from the house of Abraham ben Yosef the prince, possibly the mentor banker himself. Does that sound like a Levite? Or show just a word of benediction, luck, or blessing, to which taxes and Levitic, all that is just. Anyway, significantly, contemporary Hungarian sources also speak of the practice of minting coins from silver provided by the Jewish owners. So who was Caesar? Who are the Jews actually persecuting? Or who are the Romans actually persecuting who didn't call themselves Jews? I'm just putting this, I'm not saying, I'm just putting that out there. However, in contrast to Western Europe, finance and commerce were far from being the only fields of Jewish activity. Some rich immigrants became landowners in Poland, as Count Teka was in Hungary. Now, DJ would know something about this here, Teka. So that tells you the time and age, all right? So this is an old practice they brought here, and it took them a long time to insert it, and they had to do it by way of war and destroying a lot of our ancestors and inserting a false people by their false prophets and narratives. So anyway, Jewish land holdings comprising a whole village of Jewish farmers are recorded. For instance, in the vicinity of Breslau before 1203, and in the early days, there must have been Khazar peasants in considerable numbers, as the ancient Khazar place names seem to indicate. A tantalizing glimpse of how some of these villages may have come into being is provided by the Karaite. Records mentioned, remember what the Karaite is, right? Hagen Khan. Records mentioned before, they relate how Prince Vitold settled a group of Karaite prisoners of war. And you have the Kadar and the Krasnas and all of them. In Krasna, damn, I didn't even read that. Providing them with houses, orchards, and land to a distance of 1.5 miles. Now, in parentheses, it says Krasna has been tentatively identified with the Jewish small town Krasnoya in Podolia. That's all I wanted to read there. I just wanted to tap y'all with that. Are y'all seeing a little trail here? Now, I'm going to say this, and I know some of you might get sideways, but I need you to think. I wish Kiramio was over here to listen to this. If the people here in North America and South America knew this truth, do you think that we'd have the shit that's going on? I'm asking y'all. Do you think we'd have the shit that is going on? Especially all them pale skins converting to fucking Jewry, which is not our way. When they came here, they saw our way, how we lived. When they made war against us in ignorance. No, they'd stop what the fuck they're doing. Everybody would stop and bow at the fucking knees. But y'all don't get that. That's why the enemies, the other enemies that don't look nothing like us, oh, they're real. They're very fucking real. Are doing what they're doing. And y'all better stop being ignorant just because of fucking religion. And accept that reality, that truth. Regardless of how you feel, which I don't give a fuck about how you feel. Silent weapons for silent wars. And they've had a lot of practice on our asses, right? William Cooper, right? And hell, a whole slew of other folks. Even Mr. Peterson's talking about that. How about the one Italian telling you about North America, who they try to shut down, break his bank and everything? A lot of people shared his video years ago. He says, no, the Negroes built a great world over there in America, and we just went over there and fucked it up. Yes. I don't even know if the guy's still alive. He's over in Italy. He was in New York and everything, went back over there, and then he came back. I don't know if they did something to him or whatever. Even certain people in Russia knew this. Why is that y'all though? Behold a pale horse, William Cooper. Namaste. Oh, here we go. In 1976, I was 10 years, going on 11 at that time, as well as on March 20th, 1979. I made the 13 mark. I was breakdancing at that time. Yes, I was well into breakdances. Ooh. I went to the sheriff's department in Houston to see if our local sheriff's department had been infiltrated by these plans. Well, it appears so. I was put in contact with a Lieutenant Kiljan, who is in charge of some secret unit. Holy shit. In the department. I asked him if he had participated in military training or in training with military personnel here in the sheriff's department. He denied it, and when I asked him if he would testify so under oath, he became angry and stated, "You are just an ordinary citizen. I don't have to tell you anything." I later discovered that Lieutenant Kiljan is the ex-director of the Houston branch office of the United States Secret Service. Now, where does his money come from? The area is administered by the Houston Galveston Area Council. In this regional government plan, each federal region is divided into state clearinghouses, and each state clearinghouse is divided into area clearinghouses. And for our area, we have the Houston Galveston Area Council. It serves as a conduit for federal funds in two major areas. LEAA, as my beautiful snooze there expressed to y'all what I meant yesterday, law enforcement, blah, 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 and HEW. Now, most everybody thinks that this organization, the Houston Galveston Area Council, and that would be HGAC, is for the development of the area and the geographical area where in Houston is, but is not. It is for the development of LEAA and HEW projects. Now, this finds its counterpart in every community across the U.S. It provides for these agencies a liaison for intergovernmental communications and interactions and coordination. God damn, Texas. Yeah. Now, next we're going to get into the mental cooperation and takeover plans. Oh, no, we're not going to read that right now. I'm going to read that in its entirety. And it's a pretty long one. Now, you guys got to remember, we're in the HR 4079 in FEMA. Okay? And I believe y'all going to really enjoy this part. I read this one as well. Now, remember, I'm not saying all he wrote is real or anything. I'm just reading because you can see some of the things. You know what I'm saying? Hey, what was that? What'd you say this? You popped up. What's up? For the first time. Somebody, hey, Snoo, you lost SIM card? Okay. Yeah, them illegal immigrants are ushered in and they are definitely agents. Certain ones. Now, there are people coming over. There's always an infiltration who really seek better life and to do better things from what's going on. And everything is by destruction, by what you call it, but Pope also shadows ruler of the earth. Well, the gray Pope is the only top motherfucker, and that's the name I gave you, Pepe. And who does he follow? That's well, the question is. I can't believe folks think the real people of this earth are those natives. Exactly. South America is coming to North America. Hey, Snoo, as what we text. Title 42 ends today. Here they come, y'all. And yet they said they were sending who to the borders? Didn't I just tell you all that at the beginning of this week? I said they're sending the National Guard. For what? Herbal, what's going on? No red wolf, no red wolf what? Hold on. Let me go up here and say hi to everybody and see what the hell's going on. Oh, you meant as far as what I was saying, as far as who's grand, but okay, yeah. Hey, Rhonda, what's going on, beloved? Hey, Bowie Brutus, what's going on, family? You already know it. What's happening, man? My girl, Snoop. So for August said hi and everybody. M. Card was he's a Native American tribe indigenous to the part of Nevada, has an oral traditional that has told the early white settlers of the area about a race of red-haired white giants, barbarians that our ancestors referred to as Sitka, right? Sitka, that's how you say it. The story was written down in 1882 by Sarah Winnemucca Hopkins, daughter of a Paiute Indian chief, in her book "Life Among the Paiutes." And you know Hopkins is our. If you go to Library of Congress and that's nigger name for those who aren't aware. But side, what's going on, beloved? Yeah, you already know, family. M. Card. My beloved brothers and sisters are like, where's the rest of the sisters at? I think them vampires. Help you out. No, they fucked me up, man. Shut up. God damn it, I need some Ganji's goddamn sawdust, fairy dust, or whatever, ganja dust, or some of that damn water with the ash in it. Make my ass tired. There was no Aboriginal Nevada, just mongrels and dirt, according to the Walter Plecker Indians. Exactly. That's that fucking lying bastard, right? We just from Virginia. Cypress ain't coming up in here because she get her head knocked off. To who? Walter Plecker? Who the heck? M. Cart. Anyone go to Grand Canyon? I'm interested in going. Come on up here, man. Why don't y'all come on? We take a trip next month. Everybody come, bring about $150. We'll all jump up in my truck, maybe another vehicle. You know, Westside will ride in his damn thing. Ronda, you ride with me. We get whoever else. Come on, man. And we'll go to Jerome, to the Copper Town, get some copper cups and plates and stuff so we can change the dynamics, some iron skillets. And we can head out to the Grand Canyon. It's not that far from there. Like, come on, man. And we can travel without guns, niggas. Anyway. Them Boule wannabe American Indians that are sent here to cause confusion. A lot of them are black, small-hatted Europeans. Yes, very much so. And betrayers as well. Excuse our brother Westside Chase. No, that's my boy right there. Him and Ronald, we need to be with Charleston White wearing our... Look, we need to be wearing our... I got black and white hats with the... I'm gonna show you. I got a license plate I'm about to put on my truck, just like this right here. I got one to go on my hat right here like this here. Don't get it twisted. I got a bandana and everything. I even got a little mask. Sit there. I got my staff made by Charles Henderson, two persons. I'll be like, that's right. And if the clan ain't me today, I'll be right there. What you need, sir? We got it, sir. I know where a whole bunch of them goofy niggas is. What's going on, bro? What's happening? We was from a niggerish. What you say? How you say it? Anyway, I'm not gonna say all that. That's not that. Coca-Cola had real cocaine in it. Yeah, up until 1940 or something like that, or 50, something like that. I forget. It was just a stimulant. It wasn't like the processed stuff you see out now. Seeing those tobacco statues when I was, it's in North Carolina, all up and down the East Coast, even in Texas. The history tells us there were 3 black popes in Catholic Church history: Pope Victor and Pope Galicius. Don't forget Giuseppe. Served between 400, and that's the changeover on the tobacco farmer. Okay, that doggone. We are born with a small swamp. Any other information is pseudo. Only born just in Louisiana now. They're too stupid. South America's coming to North America. Yeah, I don't care about all that. I really don't. Them illegal immigrants are used. Okay. Oh, there you go. Exactly the South will rise. You're damn right. I've been trying to find a Velcro one. Yeah. Well, go to ConfederateStop.com and order you whatever you need. You know, I got 100 different colors of these. They're there. Don't look on Walmart and all them goofy places. Them Chinese don't give a fuck. That's why they're shutting down so many Walmarts. You think it's San Francisco because the security guard shot the 33-year-old shot the dumb little 23-year-old nigga, and then the ones down in which card and over in the East Coast, because no dumb niggas don't know how to act. They want to run in there and rob everything because of Maxine Waters and all them goofy ass liberal fucktards. Told them, don't worry, we'll bail you out. Raise hell. No. Just let them steal and leave. Right? Herbo, what was the no red wolf? What was that for? What was that for, brother? I need to know what you meant. Was it when I stated as far as knowing the difference between the two? Because some people stated some of it, I think. But anyway, let's go ahead and read the next part, okay? Yeah, be careful with the language, brother. DNA of the gods, the Anunnaki creation of Eve, and the alien battle for humanity. But yeah, when it comes to the enemies, because you got to remember, the Vietnamese were never our enemies. That's why I don't use that word, brother. They gave our people more pass than anything, as my father and my uncle said. Our people shouldn't have been over there fighting them motherfuckers. Not at all. Bada boom, bada bing. I'm just going to read 2 paragraphs here so we can go on into the next one. The teachings of the gods. Remember this? Good shit. Let's remember that before Nimna and Enki brought into being the civilized man with Adapa. Got niggas from here, from Facebook, come over, watch the video. Don't even say greetings or anything, right? And over there now, they're talking about all this that I'm talking about like they know what the fuck they're talking about. They don't have a clue. Ain't that right, Breezeway Foster? I know you're on here watching, but you don't know how to speak in chat, say hi, or anything. You got me twisted. Boy, if you fucking... Let's remember that before Nimna and Enki brought into being the civilized man with Adapa, in parentheses states, who was taught writing, mathematics, and astronomy, the Anunnaki on Earth were keeping up detailed records of all the events that came to pass. That was a great... Oh, no, I figured that. I figured it was with the Peppy, was it with the Peppy motherfucker? Because there's something over him, and that's why I'm not a religious guy, and I know a lot of y'all aren't, and girls, right? I'm gonna be honest with you. Yeah, I know nickname is Lucifer. It's a name. There's actually people out there with the name Nimrod, okay? I believe that there's a Satan. Now, when I look into it, there's a whole lot of things that go with it. But it's so elusive because there's so many contextual lies. But I know there's more than just that. And I believe it's an organization, it's a group, it's a corporation, it's something bigger than we even know. And I don't think they're like us. I really don't. Now, am I right? I'm not saying I am. The more I look at things, the more we seek, right? The more we find, right? You knock, you peep, you know what I mean? Every time I look at this person, his picture and whatever, maybe he's the actor or he's hiding. All right? Hiding behind it or whatever. To which I don't care. But the reality is, no, man. Not that damn smart. There's something else going on. I'm not going to get into the void of all this lizards and this, that, and other. I'm not saying that they don't exist, because I'm always alluding to something. I'm just more proverbial in y'all being prepared. I just wish y'all would see the importance of that, because I don't really think most of y'all see the importance of it, because you still go about your daily old, I'm not beating y'all up now. I don't think y'all take it with urgency. You're too laid back. Like some of the ODA guys and special forces guys say, they see Americans, they're too comfortable. They're too laid back. I don't know if it's what they're spraying that's making y'all like that, but you are. I'm not. It's not affecting me like that, people. You've got to change. You really do. And you don't get it. You should have done it last year. Hell, the year before. Fuck, you should have came out the womb like that. Let's go ahead and get back into this. Okay. Civilized man with Adapa, who, in parentheses, who was taught writing, mathematics, and astronomy. And the Anunnaki on Earth were keeping up detailed records of all the events that came to pass, from Enki and Alalu's journeys to Earth and early events in Nibiru. And at that time, there were only the Anunnaki to act as scribes. Only the Anunnaki. Generally, all the great gods were writing and recording for themselves, but they had also other gods to do it for them. Thus, Thoth or Hermes, and you know that other word, Ninshizda, okay, was, in parentheses, in his youth, we may infer, to be mindful, the appointed scribe of his father Enki. In Egypt, now would that be Metatron for God? You know who Metatron is, right? Who was the first one taken up? Enoch became Metatron, right? So in this statement, thus Ninshida, Thoth, Hermes, was in his youth, we may infer, to be mindful, the appointed scribe of his father Enki in Egypt. But we know for sure that Enki himself had written or directed his memoirs, of which up to now only fragments remained, and more may, we hope, be discovered in the future. The angels, so Gabriel, so Raphael, so what is this? And the angel took him up in a whirlwind or in a ship, you know what I'm saying, and showed him this and told him this is what's to come, and you get what I'm saying? So anyway, this is he'd be discovered in the future. This is why these memoirs are referred to as the Lost Books of Enki, the Lost Books of Enoch, and the title Zachariah Sitchin, used to reenact such memoirs. One of the many lost books that were discussed and referenced by the scholars in antiquity, and of which no copy has been preserved or yet discovered. We remember the plot of the name of the rose. The name of the rose. Pull that up, hon, because I'm going to go back and tap on it. By Umberto Eco, turning around the lost book of Aristotle. Namely, Arizona Republicans still support anyway. Namely, the second volume of his Poetics. Listen, we remember the plot of the name. This is the name of the book. The Name of the Rose by Umberto Eco, ECO. Turning around the lost book of Aristotle, namely the second volume of his Poetics. Ooh, child. Enki was the one to put in writing his explorations in astronomy as viewed from the earth, to calculate the inclination of the ecliptic, to divide the sky in 360 degrees and 12 zodiacal houses, and establish the 12 zodiacal constellations in the ecliptic, in parentheses, states that we still use today. And he also determined the length of the earth year and elaborated an earth calendar, as well as the astronomical processional titles we see when time began. Okay, he was also a mathematician and a great engineer. He surely passed these sciences to two of his sons, Marduk and Ninshista, but he doesn't seem to have taught these sciences, at least so extensively he didn't, to his younger sons, Nergal and Dumuzi. Nergal and Dumuzi, yes. And then we'll get into what about the gods teaching humanity. I mean, there's some things to look at, right? I don't think no one truly knows. Do they? Exposing the Expositions, 1851-1950. Revised edition to 2021, based on this 2019. This is crap. I'm thinking about giving it away. But Howdy Mikowski, I mean, I paid for it, but Shalaga. If you think these fools could have built that in 2 years, and why did we end up repairing and rebuilding the fucking Capitol then? With them onlooking to learn how to do the repairs. While wild women collecting Babylonian seashells and making royal blue and purple. from the Louisianas all the way up the coastline of the Carolinas and Floridas to negate the truth. My great grandma said she remembers going out and collecting them shells to put on the coals to make this powder, and then to put it with these plants, these little purple, these whatever, and then the abalone to use this. I forget what she said. It was not a chemical, but it's a process, and then they would extract it in these cloths, and they would get this oil. This, yeah. Let me shut up. Excuse me. And she said how they used to perm. They didn't use the word perm. How they used to make lye with the seashells and put it in the hair of the men and sometimes the women. Not during childbirth. Big old juicy big fro. They let the hair grow. They didn't cut the hair. Cutting hair was an imitation piece. So mohawk meant that you couldn't grab the hair like you wanted to. Our hair. That's what a mohawk meant. To scalp it the way you wanted to. And sometimes we make a strip to be an imitation so they can, you know what I'm saying? Okay. Yeah. You take some wavy, flat, straight hair is easy to grab unless you get top of the head and get a handful when you're swinging axes and all those things. No, man. That's why I laugh when these people start walking around with their hair and mohawks and everything. I look at them like fucking idiots. Hollywood did a fucking job, did it? Anyway, let's go ahead. However, there are a lot of problems with the historical presentation of this giant. Excuse me for those who are just joining in. If you have not subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscription, hit the notification bell. Welcome to the tribe. We're going to keep it going. Yes, in the AM, if you see me, I burn I burn the rubber in the morning because we are in a state of mourning. And especially if I do feel some things sometimes, but it's more in the righteous state of mind. And sometimes I look at everybody like they're children. Bad children. However, there are a lot of problems with the historical presentation of this giant area as a palace. The first is that it is claimed that there were no kitchens or bathrooms. So who is supposed to be living there? Well, I enjoyed another documentary on this place as they depicted lavish Roman feasts with everyone eating and drinking to excess. But there are no kitchens. So just where was all this food coming from? That's what I love about these stories, these pecker what they make, and they just mess up everything, these Ashkenaz and everything. How you going to have these big elaborate balls of people eating and gorging, the Hollywood, and they don't have no latrines and toilets, but they have those fine buildings and no one to cook it. So it just popped up out of the sky somewhere. It just fell on the marble tables, wood top. Come on. Anyway, where would they go to the bathroom, right? Anyway, eating and drinking to excess. But there are no kitchens. So just where was all this food coming from? Where would they go to the bathroom? Certainly not in the giant lake in the center of the palace. It reminds us of a similar structure of the 16 to 1700s, where we see palaces with giant fireplaces with no way of burning wood in them, and massive hotels, pay attention, with bathrooms. Did people actually need to eat? They said hotels without bathrooms. Did people actually need to eat? Don't gloss over that too quickly now. Could they have been obtaining their energy requirements from the air, the sun, or the buildings themselves? Many are now speculating that the old fireplaces were linked to the towers of the roofs that seem to bring energy into the space to heat without the need of any burning wood or coal. The ancient fireplaces are in fact a form of sophisticated technology, more so at the Domus Arua, and there have been found no places for anyone to sleep. So it is not a hotel or a residence. It was a place only to visit. Does this sound like the exhibitions of the 19th century? No. I believe that we were closer to ascension, people. Just pay attention. Just pay attention. Got to be careful what I say. I believe that our people were closer to ascension than a few had. That the monks of Japan, the new age of ideology, and the new Japanese, maybe it was an Anu bloodline, decided to go on a 3-year journey of self-abomination for ascension, the purpose to go to a place the ancestors once went. And in order to do that, to do their best to meditate and reconnect to the ethers, the energy's life force. It's just me rattling. My apologies. Incredible bathtub of Nero claimed to be in the Domus Aurea area, now on a beautiful mosaic floor in an octagonal room in the Vatican Museum. The diorite has been smoothed to an almost glass-like surface. Now, this is an incredible bathtub of Nero claimed to be in the Domus Aurea. Look at this. You think these fools gonna be to a glass-like surface? We're talking about marble, people. Even more amazing was another court that rotated. Yes, rotated. Some historians suggest it was just the dome that did the rotating, while others claim it was the entire structure. Most historians present that it was made to move by slaves cranking a series of revolving mechanisms. But that is only speculation. To date, no one has any idea how the revolving was done, how much of it revolved, or what the reason was for it, just that it did. Nero died in 68 AD. Look at that year, y'all. And so too, it seems, his palace. Soon after his death, the entire area was filled in, and the Trajan's baths and the Temple of Venus built over top of it in 79 AD. That means, according to the standard history, this giant complex was used for only 4 years by Nero, then completely covered over 10 years later. On top of the lake was built the Flavian Amphitheater, and yes, they built the Colosseum on top of the lake. Remember the claims that twice a week the Colosseum had the entire floor flooded to stage mock naval battles, which makes you wonder right away about the true function of the Colosseum, which may have nothing to do with gladiators or fighting, but may have been a structure that used the giant lake that stayed beneath it. Look at all the high-rise aqueducts they had. No, I used to look at those and be like, you got to be kidding me. That's how the water, how did it go? It looked like it go, how did the water go up? Anyway, if you've been there, you know what I'm talking about. For those of you who've been to so-called Rome. You know, Bruce Lee fanatic I was, and doing Kung Fu and everything, I had to go and see the Colosseum, not knowing the bigger one was here. Now, the Domus Aurea was said to be lost to history, buried under the baths of Trajan until the 1400s, when a young boy fell through a hole in the Esquiline hillside. He found what seemed to be an old cave with beautiful painted walls. On hearing this, the artists of Rome began to also go to the cave, soon to realize it was not a cave, but the lost Domus Aurea, or Nero. While today these frescoes have started to fade on the plaster walls, at the time of the discovery, they were still fresh. So new and unique were the paintings that when news of the find reached Florence, and in parentheses, it says undergoing the Renaissance. Oh, you know they went and repainted everything, right? Do I need to quote Mr. George Orwell? For one out of hundreds. Pinturicchio, Raphael, and Michelangelo all made a trip to visit. Each carved their names on the walls to let the world know they had been there. As the paintings were a revelation of the true world of antiquity, other tourist graffiti includes Casanova, the Marquis de Sade, Domenico Ghirlandaio, Martin van Heemskerk, and Filipino Lippi. Filipino Lippi, something like that. I wonder, in fact, these great artists would indeed carve their names into the walls of such a specific artistic find, thus defacing it. The names could have been added later to create the story of the Renaissance, to which that is what I believe. Because we know the only Renaissance, the true Renaissance, was the Reconstruction era. And based on these sellout niggas, the Black Renaissance of Harlem in France. Because you got to remember, France stopped beheading motherfuckers. Arabs, niggas. One was a Ashkenazi, a terrible serial killer motherfucker. And the other one was an Arab. And they recorded them in the 70s. Oh, y'all didn't know that? Oh, my God. I thought y'all were historians. Well, actually, somebody recorded it. The last 2 beheadings. I appreciate you guys taking the time to listen to me ramble on and all the other. You know what I mean? Appreciate you guys hanging in there with me. I know there's a lot of people came in and ran, you know, but it is what it is. Because see, some people feel like there's some kind of degree of separation, and it's not. You either are going to keep holding on to the bullshit, or you're going to start saying, no, we got to cut and shit. We got to cut and run. And that's where I believe we're at. I believe we're at the stage we need to cut and run from all the bullshit, because it's just too much. It's just way too much bullshit. And nobody in their right mind should stay and tolerate so much bullshit. I mean, that's how I see it. You know? And who was that? Hey, Alpha, what's going on? What you pull up this snoo? BarnesandNoble.com. PDF, the name of Rose. Oh, okay. Cool. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go and pop that up. What's going on, Alpha? What's happening? Who else is coming up in there? All religious routines, I agree. I was agreeing to what you. Oh, no, Herbal. I got you. Yeah. I appreciate everybody coming in. I really do. Mad love and respect. You know how it is. Always. I'm going to go ahead and get off of here. Like I said, I'm going to run out real quick, about 2 or 3 hours. Come back, we're going to get into, you know, women, and you know, we're going to get into those last 2 books. And, yeah, like I said, you know, not here for the masses, but dang, out of all the people on earth. And then when I see what people are listening to and what people are following, it shows me that my grandmother, my great grandmother were right. That the majority of people, I can't say the word, there's no hope. I just can't do it for them. It's hard for me to do that. I want to be able to change the vernacular. But then when you don't have a strong network with you, you know, it's, you know, how do you walk in your light, and you love to let it allow it to flow off of you, when some people have so much darkness? It's, you want the light to be able to overshadow it, but sometimes you've got to keep the light safe too. You dig what I'm saying? Order is always around, right? But order is always around, but we're dealing with so much out of order actions, right? So that means that order is not here. Wouldn't be no existence without real order. There's an order to everything. Regardless of how things are manipulated and changed, just because they change don't mean that it's origin, because without its origin, you couldn't change it, right? So I can't say it. When they said there's no hope for the majority, they said, you know how the story goes, and I was like, oh, my great grandmother, you know, there's no hope. It's going to happen. I know how the story ends, but I know how it can end. I still have a little hope. And that little hope, I guess to get the term grain of mustard seed. Otherwise, I'd stop reading. Saying what I say. Yeah. You dig? Anyway, I appreciate you guys coming in. Again, for the new subscribers, I know people are working or doing whatever they're doing. I know they're messing with the notifications. If we get more people to like on this and watch it in its entirety, to share it, we can. I'm not here to beat the algorithm, but we can have a change. We can change it. All right, guys. Even if you watch it 2 and 3 times, that every time you view it in its entirety, I don't care if you let it play. It helps with the algorithm. But with that being said, let me get out of here so I can run, because I want to come back and I actually want to lay down for like 45 minutes or something. I'm just going to have a salad this evening. I got some lobster claw I thawed out, so I'll probably have that with the salad. I love y'all. We're about $32. How much is this new? $32 away from making the deposit, and then going ahead and ordering the books. I think we're about 32. I don't even feel like looking at the screen. I'm getting hit with EMF like I want to turn everything off. Because when I get off of here, I'm turning the phone off, people. My boy told me, Mr. Eric Snowden says, yeah, when you're home, unless it's an emergency, turn it off. And because they know I listen to music, turn it all off. And you can unplug your TV. And I was like, you know what? I do that downstairs. I says, you know what? I'm going to start doing it upstairs too. Just unplug everything. You know, I got my little thing where I can play music, you know what I'm saying? Without this crap and the internet. So I'm not driven by Instagram or nothing. I do little videos and I post them and I get off of there. And I look at the people who respond so I can respond back to them. Other than that, I don't give a damn. And I share things with everybody because I feel like there's some importance to some stuff, and there's some things that are just a little lighthearted, and some things that have you rolling on the floor, and we need that. We need a little laugh every once in a while. We need things to, you know. I guess that's that little bit of hope that I believe in. All right. So anyway, my beloved sisters, my brothers, you always know it's 2 and 1. Appreciate y'all taking the time. Let me get the fuck out of here so I can come right back and lay my head down, kick off these goddamn heavy ass Klondikes, and relax for a minute. Appreciate you guys.